Wait, hold on. Let me finish.
No, let me finish.
Welcome to Let Me Finish, the weekly podcast where we discuss what the hell's going on in pop culture, current events, and everything else in between.
We are your hosts. I'm Janice.
I'm Stacy.
And I'm Jillian. Grab a glass of wine and let's get started. Welcome back, everyone. This is Let Me Finish, episode number 8.
Oh, my record.
Ooh, I'm losing count. All right, episode 8. I'm your host, Jillian.
I'm Janice.
I'm Stacy.
All right, so we're just going to jump right into it. We're going to talk about what we did this week. Stacy, let's start with you. What did you do this week?
Let's see. Oh, it was Valentine's was on Tuesday. So we went out to dinner on Monday. Well, we had reservations Monday at my favorite restaurant. Y'all know I love Ocean Prime.
Mm-hmm.
And
they got you into sushi.
My husband made these reservations a long time ago. So okay, so we're getting ready to go to dinner. And we're like, okay, cool. So it was for 7 o'clock. So we get there around, 6:45, and we pull up to the valet, and there was like, where's the valet? Like, there's no one out here. Like, why is it so dark? What's going on? And I'm like, what? So we just sit there for a minute. I'm like, what the heck is going on? So I call the restaurant. I was like, where's the valet? And they're like, we're closed. I'm like, what do you mean we're closed? We have reservations for 7 o'clock. And she was like, what's your name? I gave her my name. She goes, we called everyone. We tried calling you, left you a message saying that we had to cancel the reservations. I was like, lady, I drove an hour to get here, and you called me at 6:30 something. My reservations were at 7.
Oh, they only called you that same day to
that
cancel
same
it?
night.
Oh.
And I was like, well, what happened? Something happened in the restaurant. We had to close it down. And I'm like, okay. And then she goes, well, we can try to get you reservations next door at Capitol Grill.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, fine. So she calls me back. She goes, yeah, they can get you over there at 7:15. I'm like, cool. So we went there. I hate Capitol Grill. I feel like I just wasted money. Like,
is that a steakhouse?
It is.
Okay.
But I'm not really
a steak eater.
I don't eat steak, and I'm not really big on seafood. So, but
you love Ocean Prime.
I like to go to those restaurants because of the ambiance and just to say, oh, I'm at like a...
Well, Capitol Grill isn't nice like that?
It is, but the food is disgusting. But at least with like Ocean Prime, I love like the crab cakes, and they have really good sushi, and they have other stuff. And it's an awful experience, but...
Oh, that's your Valentine's?
Yeah, and then my hubby got me some...
I'm about to say, what did he get you?
Some LV, little Louis V.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like purse?
He always...
Shoes. Jewelry.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Ernest always hits it out of the ballpark with the gifts. So.
Always. So it was all good.
Yeah.
Had a good one.
Okay. Yeah. Well, nothing much. I just had work, and then me and Janice went on Saturday. We went and saw the new Ant-Man movie. Was it Ant-Man and Quantumania?
Thief. I was gonna talk about that, but yeah, we went to go see Quantumania.
Yeah, and so we, it was actually really good. I enjoyed it. Out of the 3 Ant-Man movies, I think this one was the best one.
Yeah, I didn't like the first 2, or I didn't because I didn't care about Ant-Man. Ant-Man is not one of the Marvel people like I care that much about. But with this movie, I will say it was the most entertaining out of the phase 4 to me completely. Like it just kept my attention from the beginning to the end, and the last couple hadn't. Like Thor Love and Thunder, I was like, ugh, boring. I was bored.
Yeah, me too.
Spider-Man, a little bit bored. Multiverse, a little bored.
Yeah,
like I fell asleep in the theater on all of those.
I liked Spider-Man and the Multiverse, but it just had such a sad ending that I didn't really. I'm like, I'm not gonna watch this again. And number one reason why I've only seen Endgame one time, because I'm just like,
I've seen that.
Well,
so many
spoiler
times.
alert: if you haven't seen Endgame yet, Tony Stark died. I'm like, ooh.
Okay, so
and I hated what they did for Captain America. I'm like,
so
what? I hated it.
Like that was a spoiler alert. That's the problem. You don't watch Marvel.
Yeah, you don't.
Yeah,
so you don't really care.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it didn't matter. But yeah, so I've only seen Endgame one time just because I'm like, so he really did die?
Yeah, because Iron Man's your favorite. It wasn't.
Not saying that it was necessarily my favorite. I mean, I liked all the movies. I think like of all the earlier Marvel movies, my absolute favorite was Black Panther and Winter Soldier. Those are my top two, like, they hit on
I think Age of Ultron might be my fave.
No,
I think Age
for
of
me,
Ultron.
Winter Soldier just hit. Like, I can watch that over and over and over.
It was good. It was good.
Yeah. So I just thought that was really, really good. But yeah, I liked it too. I thought it was exciting. It almost like with the new Marvel, you can do it as a one-off. You don't have to watch all the previous movies
To get the connection.
to all the characters, and you can just literally go in, hit it one time, and you'd be totally fine and totally understand what's going on. So I thought that was kind of good about that, and I think that's what we're going to be doing in the future. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and I think the only other thing that was interesting this week was Janice.
I mean, dang, you want to know how my week went?
Yeah, go ahead. Let's hear it.
Thanks. Originally I was going to talk about Ant-Man Quantumania, but I guess I'll talk about Rihanna's Super Bowl performance.
Yes.
Because her Super Bowl performance, instantly I texted Stacey and Jillian and I was like, is she pregnant?
Yeah, we all,
Yeah.
I mean, like,
And
wait a
then
minute.
Stacey was instantly like, no, she was just, I just saw her yesterday. Her stomach was so flat. I was like,
She had on, I went back
That's
and
a straight
looked.
baby
she
bump.
she was wearing a
And
really
she
thick
rubbed her-
jacket.
Yeah,
and she
she
rubbed
was.
her stomach as soon as she started.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I was like, no, she's pregnant.
I initially thought it was just post-baby body. And I'm like,
It was too round.
Yeah.
No. When the angle that she was, I thought, oh, a little bit of
She
post-baby
literally
body.
rubbed her stomach
Yes.
like a
I
pregnant
didn't-
person
She's
in the very beginning.
She was definitely pregnant.
I didn't initially
Catch
see
that?
that. Yeah.
I did feel like, remember how she said that in her post or pre-show
She
talking
might have
about
a little surprise with her.
but it was when she said that she's going to channel Beyonce, and Beyonce introduced her pregnancy with the twins. With Blue
at the
Ivy,
Grammy.
With Blue, the
when
first
by
one.
rubbing her stomach.
Yeah.
So I was like,
Oh,
oh,
at
is
the end
that
of the
what she meant
performance.
by she channeled Beyonce?
Yeah, because she rubbed her stomach at the end of a VMA performance.
I remember that.
But she rubbed her stomach in the beginning, and I was like,
Yeah.
And then how she wasn't moving as much, I was like, so she's no one jumping
So
the
some
baby.
people were saying that they thought it was boring and she didn't do it. I mean, personally, I thought she sounded great.
She did.
I thought her being pregnant, I thought the visuals were good. I just loved everything
I think that's what
about
they were
it.
going for, because if you actually look at the dance moves, it was like supposed to, I think it was for the visual of having so many of them doing such a
Right.
simple move. I think that was the whole visual effect of it, and people were missing that. They wanted like a performance where you're dancing and getting down, and she's pregnant.
Yeah. She's
Yeah.
pregnant, but I also went back and looked at previous Rihanna performances,
Yeah,
and she's not a
she's not a dancer.
full-on dancer like you
No.
would see.
She's not an entertainer.
Okay,
She is.
What we're not gonna do is have any Rihanna slander, but people.
It was
Why?
a great performance.
Why?
True Rihanna fans know that she's not a Beyonce, and she's never really been big on choreograph.
She doesn't do
choreography.
full on.
But she does a lot of
But
Caribbean vibe.
She does all
type.
those little. She's a
Yeah.
viber. She's more like into the vibe. which is
Listen,
what
I thought the
like.
performance was great. I think she did. I liked it. I thought she did.
I thought it was great.
So just to be clear, as much as Stacey makes it seem like I'm some Rihanna hater, I'm not. I do like
You said
Rihanna.
she gives off like, what did you say the vibe she gives off? The other woman?
She does. She does.
Really?
She does.
Such a hater.
She does.
Oh, so Beyonce gives off wifey vibes, and then Rihanna gives off what?
Yes.
Side chick?
Yes.
That's
yes.
just messed up.
That's her opinion. That's
Yes.
okay.
That's how I feel.
Everyone's
opinion.
Didn't say the girl wasn't talented. Didn't say I didn't like her music. Like
We don't know who
I
she.
like
we
her.
don't really know.
She got bad
Rihanna,
girl
so.
vibe. I like. Hey, city girl like vibes. I like it.
You said side chick.
She does give me side chick vibes.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, her previous Rihanna, old school Rihanna, does give me side chick vibes for sure.
Okay. That's her opinion.
I think she's older now. She has a man. Like, it's different now, but that's what she gave me in the beginning. Absolutely.
The same Rihanna that had a video where she took the gun and shot the. Have you seen that video where she went in there with the gun and shot the guy or something?
Oh, that was in Needed Me.
Yeah.
In the music video.
And she gives off side chick. No, girl will kill you. Definitely.
Okay, I get it. You love Rihanna. She's your spirit animal.
She is.
She is.
But I'm just telling you what she gives me.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, with that, I thought it was, like I said, I thought it was a great performance. She did great. I
Yeah,
mean,
it
she
was
was
good.
pregnant. She's pregnant. She's
looks
at least
good.
into her second trimester. She
Yeah,
did great.
she's pretty big actually.
Yeah, and then
I was gonna say
also
that's a full on baby bump.
yeah, it was. And
Yeah.
once the jacket came more open, I'm like, oh
Yeah,
yeah, she's
she's
definitely
pregnant.
pregnant. And then also, people were noticing the ASL translator.
Yes.
She did.
Oh, she did
an
amazing.
amazing
I couldn't
job.
stop watching her. Like
Yeah.
after I saw it, I was like, Oh, she was vibing.
Yeah,
was
she
getting
totally
down.
did that, and I'm just like, I'm so happy that she's getting the recognition, because I think
You know, she's
she
actually
was,
deaf. She's actually deaf.
yeah, and so and also I think she was the first Black female ASL interpreter for the Super Bowl halftime show. So really great, and people seeing the work and that she did and the time she put in to be able to interpret that so well for hard of hearing or deaf viewers of the show. So that's really good for her, because I think even as a hearing person, the way she did it, if I put it on mute, you can really feel the music through her interpretation. So she did a really great job. Mm-hmm. So
I agree.
Good for her. Okay, well, that was our week. So we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back, and we're going to do a quick follow-up from our previous episode. Okay, y'all. So I wanted to take a quick moment to follow up on last week's episode, The Hand That Rocks the Cradle. I just so happened to actually come across a great Huffington Post article titled I Study Parents Who Kill Their Kids. There's one thing people don't understand about these cases. It's from a psychiatrist. Her name is Susan Hatters Friedman, so I wanted to give her quick credit, and I think she delved in and really explained what we were trying to understand last week. And she talked about we as a society, watching these things on the news, that we have to be really careful when it comes to when we discuss, is this a mental health issue versus someone who has ulterior motives. And she made it very clear that most people with mental health issues do not harm their children, and the majority of people who do harm their children do not have mental health issues. I thought that we needed to follow up from last week's episode and really put that out there and let our audience know about that. Mm-hmm. And because we definitely want to be responsible in the ways we regard these people. So in fact, one of the cases that she talked about was actually the case we talked about with the, Lindsay Clancy, who choked her 3 children and jumped out the second story of her house. And she talked about parents. There are 5 types of situations that would cause a parent to kill a child. One of the first ones she talked about, and actually is the most common, is when in cases where it's due to maltreatment or abuse.
So that's like Gabe Hernandez.
Yes.
Like where their body gives out.
Perfect example, where most of the times it's over a long period of time. They've suffered repeated abuse and neglect from their parent, and eventually their body can't take it anymore, and they actually are not able to recover. And there's another part she talked about. It can be a one-time situation where a one-time event actually causes that child to be killed by their parent. But typically in those situations, it is due to a personality disorder or a parent who is struggling. And then she talked about the second situation, which is the unwanted child. And most of the time that happens when it's an unwanted pregnancy, and typically a newborn is killed by the parent because they did not want the child to.
But it also talks about how that child can be a little older, because that would be like Chris Watts, because she got pregnant, he didn't want to have another baby, and then he ended up killing the entire family. Correct.
So yeah, so most instances it is due to an unwanted pregnancy, but it can happen at any age. And actually, she made a point that I tried to make last week that I felt like I didn't quite know how to articulate, and it is when it's an older child, the parent usually, she says, quote, "The parent usually is not thinking of the child as their own person, but rather as someone whose fate the parent has ultimate control over." So yes, I think Chris Watts definitely fits in that situation.
And she talked about that situation dealing with if they want a relationship that's child free.
Correct.
Quick question. So based on the very beginning, when you said that usually parents that harm their kids don't have mental health issues, which was what I was saying. A lot of these parents are just selfish.
Exactly.
It's not even a mental health issue.
Yeah. So the as far as the maltreatment, that's the most common when it's long-term abuse, or it was a one-time event, a one-time abuse event, and then then there's a third. There's a total of 5. Sorry, I didn't make that clear. There's a third where it's really a partner who wants revenge on their partner.
And which I can't think of a case where I can think of where that happened.
I've seen that happen.
I mean, like a popular case, like with Andrea Yates and Lindsay Clancy and Chris Watts. Like, I'm thinking about popular case.
There was I watch a lot of true crime. I think there was a case.
I'm sure there have been.
Did it to hurt the husband?
Yes, that I have.
I just can't.
Yeah, I've Stacey, she does love true crime, but I also do see a lot of true crime where, I've seen that many times. If you ever watch ID Channel, it was an episode of I Married a Monster. And it was definitely 100% a means to hurt the child. Not only did he hurt her 2 children from a previous relationship, but also the 2 they had together. And at this time, her last pregnancy, she actually had to have a hysterectomy, so she could not have any other children. And he specifically killed the children, knowing that she couldn't have any more.
I was gonna say, I think I saw that one.
Oh yes, I saw that episode. I'm like, this man is truly evil, and he actually attempted to kill her too, but unfortunately, she was able to survive, and that's a whole nother situation. So that's a third, and then she talked about the 2 remaining situations, and I want to make sure that I get this right. These are very rare that these last 2 happen, but it does happen. They call it the parent will do it for altruistic reasons, which they feel like let's see here, the mother or the father, they're in a psychotic break.
Hear voices, right?
They hear voices, and they feel like them killing their children is a mercy killing. They feel like they're saving their children from a much worse fate. And so they have a psychotic break, and they feel like...
There was a Netflix documentary, and it was about this blonde woman, and she killed her daughter and her son, and for a and she was in a cult. And it was like, basically, like, it was like this better life that they're gonna have. They're safe. Don't worry, we'll join them. Blah blah. Yeah. Like, and I really think she believed that. I forget what that documentary was called.
Yeah, they feel like by killing their children, they are preventing them from a worse fate. And then there's there's a final one that's not really common. She says that acutely a psychotic phase, a parent kills with no rational reason. She said, for example, they may hear a command of God in the context of a psychosis. So there's no explanation that will ever make any sense to us.
So is that more Andrea Yates?
Andrea Yates,
she said she heard voices.
I think,
and then when you hear stuff about her, she really is in a she still is in a psychiatric ward.
Yeah, she still is. And actually, the doctor who actually wrote this article for Huffington Post, her mentor actually testified during the Andrea Yates case and used that as a case study to kind of prove their theory. So Andrea Yates, when she explained, she did hear voices, and she felt like she was saving her children from a worse fate when she did that. For her, it was a mercy killing for her. So I think she would be the fourth reason instead of that last one. But yeah, I just wanted to like, if you guys have an opportunity to read that, I definitely recommend y'all do that. It was very enlightening to me. And for me, she also pointed out that she think it's unethical when psychiatrists go on these popular television shows with these cases, and they're discussing the cases, and they make evaluations, though they've never actually interviewed or spoken with these people. And she says that that's very unethical, and her saying that makes me, in the future, will take that with a grain of salt,
right?
And not be so quick to make a snap judgment. And she said that we definitely need to be more careful, because, like she said, in most cases, people who kill their kids, most of the time, they are not having mental health issues.
Okay, so basically, I think when we were talking about it before, we were piecing to the whole mental health side of things. So basically, you're saying on a snap judgment to not give them the benefit of the doubt of mental health.
Not necessarily that. It's just
not. It's usually
and it sounds like
what she's saying is
in
like a lot
most
of
cases
it's not mental health.
and that's what I'm saying. It sounds like that's not the case. Like a lot of times it's just people being people and selfish and humans and
exactly
wanting their way.
Exactly.
And trying to come up with just like when you okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And she said that, and please understand, and I don't, like I said, I don't know who's listening, but I want to make it very clear, if you are having mental health issues, I feel like those people are villainized, when most of the times people with mental health issues will not harm anyone, will not harm their children, and that stigma will sometimes cause people to not seek help. So please understand, we definitely need to make sure that we are careful how we label people.
And we'll actually put the link to the article in our post. So when you go to the posting, however you watch, we'll make sure we include a link to the article Julian's talking about, as well as, hotline information in case you need help, seeking out help. We'll get you that information as well on our post. So look out for that if you're needing it.
Okay. Yeah. Any questions, Stacey?
No, I mean, I totally agree with the article, because I do feel like a lot of times, I mean, it's easy to say, like, as a defense, right? After it's done, for them to say it's mental health. A lot of times, in my opinion, it's really not a mental health. Some of these people are out here are just
and nowadays
selfish,
people always
evil,
claim mental health.
Always. And as a defense attorney, that's your first defense, that you're going to have mental health.
Yeah. Right. That's true.
Yeah, absolutely. So like Jenny said, I will include links and also resources if you are needing help, and please reach out.
And to add one more thing, I saw a picture of the window of the house that she jumped out of.
Okay.
Girl.
You're like, is it even two-story?
It's a two-story.
Like a story and a half?
It is a two-story, but I don't even think it was as tall as my old two-story house. Like,
oh really?
So she wasn't gonna go nowhere.
I looked at the window and I said.
But she also, didn't they say that she had some artificial cuts on her neck and her wrist, and by the time the police got to the scene, by the time the husband got there, they already stopped bleeding. So she wasn't trying to kill herself.
Like,
she's looking for some.
Yeah. She jumped.
She's looking for sympathy. I think hers is more of a selfish mentality as well. Well, she did have postpartum.
She did. I mean, I don't know. I just saw the picture of the house, and I was like, that's like a 1.5 story, but okay.
Okay. All right. So we're going to take another really quick break, and then we'll jump into our main topic. Be right back. Okay, y'all, let's just jump right in, and we have to discuss Chris Brown and his ridiculous comments. And so I guess Chris was complaining that he feels like he's still being punished or still hated for the domestic violence situation with Rihanna. And he actually brought up a couple other people and wondered why they haven't been canceled. He brought up Krishan and Blueface, the rapper, brought up their relationship, and also a couple other white celebrities who have had domestic violence past and why they haven't been canceled as well. So we definitely want to talk about that. And
I have an opinion. Okay,
Stacey, let's start with your opinion.
What to say? Because I have.
Let me
some too.
just say how it actually all started. First of all, so because this is what caused the issue. So he has a song that he's that's coming out with
Cassie.
No,
Chloe Bailey.
Chloe Bailey.
Oh.
And I guess she had dropped like a little sneak peek of it or whatever. And Miss Girl, what's her name? From
Keely.
The one that's talking about she didn't have sex with all of them at the same time.
Promises.
That's the one that we talked about a couple weeks ago that had sex with everybody at the same time.
She's the one that actually had something to say, and she came out and she was saying, doesn't understand why people are still doing, like, in a nutshell, like, why are people still even doing songs with him? Because, like, he's an abuser and this and that, whatever. And personally, I felt like, why are you commenting on this situation at this time? Like, worry about your own self, because here lately she's just been talking a lot, and I think she's just trying to be
relevant again,
right? And I think it pissed him off, because that's when he came out and said, listen, this is something that happened 17 years ago. But the thing is, not only are you calling out Chris Brown, but you're also calling out Chloe Bailey, right? Like you're
For having
you're
doing the
making
song with
her
him.
look bad. How many people have done songs with Chris Brown since this whole thing? Like, why are you doing this?
right now.
So with that in particular thing, to me, Keely was in that circle around that time. So she might know more than we know about what goes down with Chris or how
She
his camp
doesn't.
works. I don't know. I'm just saying she might have more insight than obviously we would, because we're not in any type of circle like that. So I can understand why she said something, but to say something on a public platform for the world to see, that's too much, because just like you're saying, like it was so long ago, and for you to say, why is anybody still doing music with him? Well, you're not doing music with him, so why don't you just worry about yourself? And if you're going to do music with him, and if you don't want to, you don't worry about what other people are doing when it comes to him, because there are parts I have to say about it. But as far as Chris Brown and him talking about, oh, well, why is this person and that person, at the end of the day, that's a childish thing to say.
That was
It's
childish.
like to say, I did something wrong, but this person did it too, so we should both be in trouble. Well,
That's
you did
not how
something
it
wrong,
works.
and if you get caught and you consequences are your consequences, you can't look at the next person and be like, well, why didn't they have consequences like mine? It's a childish thing to say. It's a childish thing to defend yourself with. Now, defend yourself and say, that was so long ago, I'm a different person, quote unquote, even though you're not,
Right.
because of the things you continuously do.
Yeah.
But I can understand if it was a person who had been reformed and 17 years later you're still bringing up the same situation. But for me, it's just Chris Brown's tired of being hated on because of what he did, but it's always going to follow him.
Okay, let me
Yeah,
say something.
period.
Let me just say this. And another thing I wanted to add to this whole discussion is I also feel like, so Karrueche, he dated her for a long time, and she actually had a 5-year restraining order against him because apparently he abused her and threatened to kill her, right? He kicked her down the stairs or whatever the situation was at the time. So I think people also tend to forget about that because Karrueche was not the biggest superstar as Rihanna is. So her situation got, overshadowed or didn't get enough, I guess, acknowledgement as Rihanna.
We also didn't see unlike Rihanna.
We saw pictures.
We saw the pictures.
We didn't see pictures with Karrueche, and some people think that maybe she was even lying about the situation, which I don't think she was, because she was actually granted the restraining order, thank goodness. But for me, I will say, why are we constantly calling out Chris Brown though? But then you have people like he said, Krishan and Blueface, who are very abusive to each other. He's abusive to her. They're abusive to everyone around them. She knocked out his mother.
That's what I was going to say with Krishan Rock and Blueface is the fact that Krishan Rock is very much an instigator in a lot of those situations too. I think one of the things that you're trying to bring up is domestic violence against Rihanna, but Krishan Rock, you can abuse men too, and she clearly abuses him.
He abuses her as well.
They abuse each other.
But we laugh about it. Not me personally, but people laugh. They have a whole show now.
Yeah.
And
that's
I think it's different.
And that's exactly
It's
why
different.
we wanted to bring up the situation in regards to Chris Brown. Did I think he made a valid point that we do not hold accountable everyone the same, where
You're never going to hold everybody
we're never gonna
accountable the same
and it's
in
not
any
and
situation.
he did point out many other male, mostly white, who've had domestic violence situations in their past.
Worse than his, I will say.
Correct. And they haven't had quite the backlash that he had, which is a valid point, meaning all of y'all should be canceled. But that's not my business. If people want to continue to work with them, that's their business. You as a consumer, if you choose to still buy their products, that is your concern. At the end of the day, that's his profession. So there's not, I can't say, because if that was the case, if I wouldn't interact with people via commerce or then there are going to be a lot of places you cannot do business with if it's due to someone's past. And then I think also when it comes to Krishan and Blueface, and actually me and Janice were discussing this, I think when it comes to domestic violence situations, we don't take it seriously and we see it as entertainment. And we were talking about the whole Jersey Shore thing. And I feel like I've gotten older. And when I initially saw those episodes, I was like, oh my God, they're so crazy. And I saw it as, I
always thought
saw
it was
it as
fucked up.
entertainment. And not now that I'm older and I've actually rewatched, I'm like, holy shit, I was really watching live domestic violence, and I viewed it as entertainment. As much watch every Thursday I would go and watch the show, and I think I should have taken it more seriously. And I feel guilty about that.
For me, with the Jersey Shore thing, I instantly was like, because for some reason, somebody breaking my shit is worse. Like, my stuff is now damaged. Like, I don't know, when I saw her pick up her glasses and her glasses were broken, her hair curler, I'm like, you can't, like, I don't know, that whole episode was just, that's when I was out on Ronnie after that completely. I didn't think she should be with him, period. They went to Paris, like, they got back together. She was like, oh, he's so sweet.
Paris,
I'm like,
Italy.
no, or wherever, Italy.
Italy.
But I was like, hell no. He's horrible. And I want to go back to what you were saying before about Chris Brown and Rihanna. So I think the reason why, for me, why Chris Brown and that whole situation was so much more blown up and people canceled him is because you got to remember how popular both of them were at that time.
Yeah.
And as a couple, people were watching their every single move. The world was. They were like basically America's sweetheart for the Black community.
Yeah, it's like Justin and Britney.
Right. So it was kind of like that, how I think so when he did put his hands on her in particular, it was like, not Riri, not Rihanna. And that's why when we go back and say, why does nobody bring up Karrueche and how their situation was, is I think people don't care as much about
because
her because she's not the same level. Rihanna is Rihanna. It's just like if Beyonce was to be abused, it would be completely different. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And I think at the time, that's the reason why he got canceled.
And I want to say something too. I mean, okay. I'm not trying to take up for Chris Brown at all, because listen, abuse is wrong no matter how you spin it, right? But I feel like with the Rihanna situation, right? What was the outcome of that? Didn't he have to do like
I think he
community service or just what? Like,
yeah,
so he
actually got in trouble.
He got in trouble and he did what he like. So if a person did a crime and did the time, I mean, he come on, like he did. This was 17 years ago.
So he did the crime, paid the time, and did it again.
Okay, but here's the thing with the Karrueche situation, we really don't know for sure what actually completely. We just know that there was a restraining order filed, and we heard this is what happened. But has Karrueche ever come out and spoke on it and said like he did these things to me, or we just know there was some stuff going on there, and there was never any jail or anything like that, as far as we know, no charges, no nothing. There's just a restraining order, right? Okay, we know this. So for me, it's like, okay, at this point, why are we still bringing up this situation from so long ago?
I don't think that we should. I don't think we should. I don't think we should be bringing up Chris Brown and Rihanna anymore. Both Chris Brown and Rihanna have moved on from the relationship. To me, she's forgiven him. She moved on from the situation. So if she was the one that was in the situation, she's forgiven him. They've moved on with their friendship, relationship, whatever.
Did the time, whatever.
Then I think it's something that should be left in the past.
And let's not get on people who are working with him, bringing up stuff that happened to him 17 years ago. I just feel like in our society right now, there is just so much more going on. We do need to focus more on why are we sitting up here watching Krishan and Blueface punch on each other every day. And it's not only Krishan and Blueface. One of the main issues I have with our culture,
so messed up.
Like our culture, the Black community, most of the reality shows that we see or that my kids are watching or people are consuming, Black women, we're fighting each other.
Yeah.
Why?
Baggers Club.
So so
Guys of the South.
Whatever it's called.
Real Housewives of blank. Yeah.
Right. And then it's like, this is what we're consuming. So after a while, we don't no longer
becomes
view
entertainment.
it as abuse. It's like entertaining.
Yeah.
And I just can't get with that.
Can't get behind it. Yeah, I think with Krishan and Blueface in particular, again, I think with them, their relationship is more for entertainment purposes because people know exactly what's going to happen with Krishan and Blueface. You gave them a TV show, you gave them a platform. And again, their situation is y'all are abusive to each other. You know, she instigates, from what I see, the majority of the situations,
but she's
where it gets violent.
She said that he's
on camera
snatched her hair.
I believe it.
All her hair. Like,
I believe it. I know he's clearly gotten violent. But I think with that situation, it needs to be pointed out the abuse she's giving as well, not just him. Putting his hands on her, because she puts his hands on him. She puts her hands on a lot of people.
On a lot of people.
That's her like motive. Her go-to is fight.
I mean, she beat his mother.
Yeah,
I think
men and women.
I think with Krishan also, because we're watching this and we see it as entertainment and they are getting ratings from it. I think also it's also predatory from whoever does the production.
I think so.
That they're definitely exploiting her, and they are applying the situation with alcohol and drugs.
Yes.
And I think when you keep her drugged and drunk, your behavior becomes out of control.
It's almost like a wind-up doll. Like you're winding her up.
Yes.
To let her go.
Whoever is over Zeus Network.
Yeah.
That network is what has Baddies South on it, and it has the Krishan. Everything on that network it makes us as a society look terrible. It is literally everything what people say
we are. It's the
stereotype.
And it just...
But I also have to say, this is just any reality television. In that case, you got to call out E! Entertainment for Real Housewives, whatever city that they're in. Because
their show is not based on who's going to get in a fight next. That's literally what the show's about.
You just watch the reunion show and they're sitting there bringing out notebooks and
here's the thing. Having a fight with your words and having a fight with your hands are different. And when you sit there and use entertainment as a physical abuse.
No, I don't. And see, that's the thing. I don't want to. It's abuse. Whether it's physical, verbal, it's all abuse. And I don't want to prioritize one over the other, because when you see what's back to. No.
So if I get in an argument with my friend, I'm abusing them.
These aren't just arguments. It's downright cruel what they're doing to each other, and that's why I've kind of had to step back. Whether it's Real Housewives or Basketball Wives or whatever reality television show, the way people cut people down.
I don't think that's mental abuse, though.
No, I think it's verbal for sure.
So cussing somebody else, verbal abuse then?
No, not just cussing someone out. It's the way they go about ripping people apart and bringing them down.
Say, where's the line,
go ahead.
Let me just jump in. I don't care about these reality shows where they're arguing with each other and cussing each other. I don't care about that. But what I do care about is when I turn the TV on and I see black women physically punching the shit out of each other, right? Just the most degrading stuff happening to black women or on these black reality shows. I'm sorry. I watch a lot of reality TV, trash reality TV, and the level of stuff that happens on the black reality TV shows, I don't see that happening on the white reality TV shows. And I feel like as a society and as a culture, we have got to stop this. This is not okay. Us idolizing Krishan and Blueface as a goals relationship because they will fight each other.
Yeah.
Like that.
Is it goals?
She really loves him because she has a tattoo on her neck. No.
People view them as goals because what? I mean,
I don't even
as a
know.
society, something is seriously wrong within the black community that we are sitting up here idolizing Krishan and Blueface.
I don't think it's
goals.
I don't think it's necessarily idolizing. I think they're viewing them as in, at least that's not me. At least that's not my relationship. My bad,
maybe, but
no, people believe in this toxic love.
That whole network, and even so, and don't get me wrong, I used to love Bad Girls Club, but the whole premise of that show is to figure who is gonna fight next.
Baddies South.
That's literally what the show's for.
The whole network, that Zeus network, they exploit. They are definitely exploiting black culture, the black community, and I don't know who's behind that network.
I don't either.
But I
either.
wouldn't be surprised if I'm not even gonna say it.
Okay.
I'm not gonna say it
because I really don't know, so I don't want to speculate.
I don't want to speculate, but they're definitely exploiting our culture. And I don't like it.
But I do think Chris Brown makes a really nice, relevant point in the fact that
does.
Let's see who the CEO of Network is.
I think he makes a relevant point in the sense that he says they don't cancel white abusive relationships the way they do black ones. They don't.
But you do know who's canceling him, right?
Because even look at Johnny Depp. Like, everybody was like, oh, Johnny Depp would never. He's such a good guy.
This also...
When there was evidence where this girl had, like, it was completely talked over. Oh, well, that didn't really happen. She put makeup on, blah, blah, blah. Like,
but here's our thing, though. You do realize, like, when you say they didn't cancel Johnny Depp, who didn't cancel him? His community didn't cancel him. We are the ones canceling our own. We are canceling.
Yeah.
So that's another issue too.
Nobody canceled Johnny Depp.
No.
They went after her. He actually doing better than he was when this whole thing started.
And I think that's why he brought that lawsuit, was to rehab his image.
Yeah. And it worked.
And that's why he filed, even though both of them do, I don't know what state they end up filing the lawsuit, even though both of them do not live in that state, they said that the whole reason why he chose to file the lawsuit where he did was because they do televise trials. And they both live in California, and California does not allow that currently. As far as televising, wouldn't have allowed them to televise the trial. So he wanted to televise to make her out to be crazy. So I think that was a big part of it. But yeah, when it comes to, Chris Rock, Rihanna, Karrueche, any domestic violence situation, the older I've gotten, and you guys know I don't watch reality television shows. I've kind of stepped away. I don't find it entertainment anymore. Like you said, and I think it started when I started rewatching Jersey Shore, and I realized I am co-signing this, and viewing domestic violence as entertainment is wrong. And I'm surprised that it's allowed on television. I don't think it's productive or adds any value. Whether, like I said, personally, whether it's Real Housewives or whatever, I feel like it's giving, and I think with Real Housewives especially, I feel like, damn, money really does not buy you class. And I feel like sometimes they get on there and they do these things not necessarily because that's how they feel, but because they need the airtime, and that's the quickest way to get more airtime.
Okay, so when you're talking about Real Housewives, though, you're talking about something that you see clips, because you don't watch it.
I don't.
You see clips, you see little bits and pieces that maybe they really read them that one time, but that's not what those shows. I don't feel like that's what Real Housewife is portraying. Also, don't feel like. And then if we're talking about girlfriends getting into it and cutting each other too low, and now it's abuse because I made a point and it was really good, or like what part? Where's the line of what's abuse in a friendship?
I don't view that as abuse. To me, when I watch Real Housewives of whatever I'm watching, to me, I can't compare that.
Because if you read somebody really well, that's not abuse.
That's just
it's not just if you're making valid points, but I feel sometimes they go to another level and are cruel for cruelty's sake.
Sure, but is that abuse, or you're just being cruel?
But you can't compare that. So then,
at this point, then we've all been abusive because we've all cut below the belt before, right?
I think sometimes we
so
can
then we're
be
all abusive.
I think we can be. I think people kind of say, well, it's just words. It's not that big of a deal, and I feel it does. It hurts. It definitely
do hurt. I'm not saying words don't hurt.
Cut.
But when I'm talking about abuse on these shows, I'm talking about
put abuse behind
physical
that.
abuse. I'm not talking about with the Real Housewives. I know that there have been a couple Real Housewives that have gotten physical, and they were immediately kicked off.
And there is such thing as verbal assault
or whatever.
I don't think. Again, where is the line on verbal assault? If I cuss you out too long, if I call you out your name, if I call you a scallywag, like what?
Yeah,
or if I bring up your damaged marriage where you're cheating, like what's below the belt where it's not verbal assault?
When it's constant. It's when it comes to verbal abuse, that is the only communication you have. That's when it definitely is verbal abuse.
Is wrong, but you can't really compare verbal abuse to like physically abusing.
And verbal abuse between two female adults and verbal abuse between like an older person and a younger person, that's different.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like I said, when it comes to any kind of, like I said,
it's just
I don't
part
find
of the reason why you don't enjoy reality TV.
Yeah, I've stepped away. I don't find it enjoying it, like I said, especially when it comes to Black women. I think we are portrayed worse, and I feel like we should have better representation.
Absolutely.
And I definitely want to try.
Us. Absolutely.
And we definitely have to step back and stop. Honestly, with a lot of these situations, until we hit them in the pocket, they're going to continue doing what they're doing, and so we have to make a vote through what we consume.
And I feel like Chris Brown definitely got a hit in his pockets before.
Yeah,
and I think for what he did to Rihanna, he's paid for. And there was a time where I didn't want to listen to Chris Brown, but I passed it. Again, once I see Rihanna start kicking it with you again, well, then we're good.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not making excuses for him, but I feel like when this happened 17 years ago, he did this time or whatever the outcome was from that. And I mean, at some point, we have got to stop bringing that up when there are so many other instances that we
completely ignore.
Yes, or other people that we can talk about. Like, leave him alone. Let the man make his music or whatever. But I will say this. There's a serious problem right now with the Black community and how we're being portrayed, and I do not like it. And if you don't like reality TV, Jill, do not watch Zeus Network.
I don't.
Because the little words on the Housewives get you.
There's a reason why
then
they
you
can't get like a
definitely-
channel on TV though. You got to go like stream that online. Like it's not even like a
It's terrible.
full on network.
It's
Okay.
you wouldn't be able to stomach it.
Yeah,
It's horrible.
I would say I'm not saying that anyone is above a redemption, but you have to actually put in the work. And sometimes I don't feel Chris Brown has done that. So for anyone to get a second chance, I feel like you have to put in the work and
Watch his documentary.
Like I said, you got to put in the work.
I think he did.
Change your behavior, and then once you've gone through your redemption arc, then you can get a second chance and not be judged solely based on your past. So that's my.
But that's
opinion.
what I'm saying. If you watch his documentary, it does definitely.
I think
talk
we need
about his
to
redemption.
revisit this topic because this
Absolutely.
is a really good topic. We might need to dig deeper into this next week.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
Maybe
leave
we'll-
comments and notes of what your thoughts and opinions are because we're going to actually dig into this. This is good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Getting deep.
Yeah, and we'll leave links. Like I said, we're gonna leave some links in the notes. So hit us up, via email, or you can DM us on social media and let us know what you think. All right, well, we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up. We'll talk to you guys next week.
Next week, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening today. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe on the platform you're listening on and leave us a review.
We want to support local businesses, so if you'd like us to shout out your business, or if you have a topic suggestion, or even questions for our QA section, we want to hear from you. So reach out to us at letmefinish@gmail.com.
You can find us on TikTok and Instagram at Let Me Finish. Don't forget that the E in me is the number 3. You can find me at New Jillian Houdis on Instagram. Stacy, where can we find you?
You can find me on Instagram, Mrs. Cams01. I'm also on TikTok, Mrs. Cams01, MRSKAMS01.
And Janice, where can we find you?
You guys can find me on Instagram at Uniquely Janice, and Facebook and TikTok, I'm just Janice Housen.
Okay. See you next week.
See you next week.
See you guys then.